Hi everyone, today we are going to see how to add a feedback button and a feedback pop-up as this example here. So I have a feedback button here. Once I clicked, I can add a feedback, test 1, 2, 3. And once I submit, the feedback is a pop-up, it goes to a thank you page, and I close that. And then if I look at my records, I do got a feedback here for the admin to take some actions. So that's the flow we are going to show. Basically how to create the button, how to add the flow inside of a pop-up, and also how to build the flow, and talk a little bit about the objects involved on this process. So that's what we're going to see in this video. So I guess we can start. So the first thing you're going to do is I'm here logged in with the user. You go back, and here as an admin, I will remove the message so then we can start that from scratch. So now I don't have that message anymore, and then if I access with the user again, I should not see anything into my digital experience cloud. I see just subscribe now, which follow the same idea, but for subscribing and signing up. So let's start again how we add the feedback button. So first thing, we have to create a message, and that's an advanced component. And then here when I click add, I have 4 templates right now, and I'm gonna choose the button one because I'm gonna start just with the button for now, and I'm gonna say just feedback. And I will open a message, but I don't have the message created yet. So you click done, and the design here, I click on the design. I do want the digital experience design, and by default this is a hardcode length. I do want to add that button over here, and I want to the whole width, so 100% width. So I have to hardcode that value, and I'm gonna click here and I say 100%, and then change the pixels to width. So that would extend here. It's gonna look big here, but on the page there, it's gonna just go over the width that we have here on this side. So I'm gonna name this as feedback button v2, so I can know that that's the version I'm working with. And that's it. So basically my button is ready. So if I go to digital experience, I'm gonna add that button here, EVM advanced message, and I'm gonna drag and drop here, and I'm gonna choose that feedback button, and I'm gonna see that button right away with hold width, and that's what I want. So the next step, so this button here, as I show, it's not, if I do double click on this, it's not calling any message. So let's build that message. But before I build the message, I also need the flow to capture those information of the feedback. Just to show a little bit of the object structure here. So let me go back here to the feedback tab and how the object structure looks like. It's basically a custom object called feedback. And then here I have a few fields. I did add the user because I want to get who is the user who's giving the feedback. If you want to be anonymous, you can just do not add the user. I also did add a status here just because I do want to create another process that I notify my admin, and I want to, once the admin knows that there's a feedback, he goes to there and change the status from new to read or closed. And then basically I have a name, and I think that's and the text of the feedback, which is a rich text area. That's the main field that we're going to use. So that's basically the structure of the object. Another thing I have to do once you create the object is to create a permission set. So my user here, if you go back here, I do have a permission set for this user. And the permission set basically is to have access to create a record inside of the feedback object. And also I have another permission to read the message and the advanced component that we have on the EvoluteMessage. So that's the two permission set that the user needs. One is just a standard one, and another one is the EvoluteMessage. And so let me show the object just in case people can see what is the permission that I gave. So feedback. So here is basically just access to create. If you give access to create, automatically it's going to set the read and add the access for these fields here. Okay, so once you create your object, you have all the fields, just set up a permission set. The next step is going to be build the flow. So now we can create a flow where the user put that information inside of the flow. So I did create this flow here. I will create a new one from scratch, so then you see how I create the flow. So it's gonna be screen flow, and then basically now I'm gonna just start my flow. So the first thing we are going to do, it's gonna be screen, and then I'm gonna add the text. Actually, it's a long area. So and that's gonna call feedback. I like to put txt here, which means the text field, and then here I'm gonna say feedback. So you can put any other text here, display text. You make that simple to make the faster the video. So configure header, configure footer. So now we just need to use a custom here and create, and you hide the other options. Okay, so our screen is ready. Yeah, so click done. So the next action is gonna actually create a record. So create feedback record, and then here we set the feedback object, and then here we are going to set the field. So it's the general feedback text, and then here if we put text feedback, and then that's it. In my case here, I'm not setting the logged in user. I make this anonymous, so let's see how that goes. And I show the other flow that I actually have the user, which is synced with the user, if you want to see. Okay, so here we have, and then I will add also a thank you page. So after create the record, I want to say thank you. So let me put display text, and I'm gonna say, yeah, thank you. Thank you for your feedback. So that's middle, and yeah, and we are good. So just now hide the options here, so that I'm gonna say close, and I'm gonna hide the other buttons that I don't need, and that's it. I also don't need to show the header, the header. So, and done. So once it's done, so basically just an overview, we have a screen that gets the feedback information. We create the record, and we just display a thank you note. So I'm gonna save that. V2. So then I know that that's the one I have to use. And I'm gonna activate that. So that's activate. So now I'm gonna go to the message and let's create a message to capture that. So add new message and it's gonna be a Salesforce screen flow. And then I have a header there on the message, so I hide that. And I also have the button there already, so I hide this. And now double click on this and I will choose the it's V2. Oops. I don't see here, so I click refresh. Okay, here, feedback V2. I don't need to send any ID to that flow, so I hide this. I do want to close the message when the flow finish and just stay in the same page. I don't need to redirect the user to any other page. So that's all. So click here, done. And another thing is I don't want this message to load all the time. So I will close this because who is gonna open this message is the button, not the when you load the page. And I will give the name here, flow page message. Okay, so I have that. So now what I'm gonna do is I will go back here and I'm gonna change my button to call that message. So here I have, double click on the button and I'm gonna see here, flow message show. So done and publish. So now when I click, it's gonna call that message. Another thing I have to do is to add the message on top of the feedback. So now because the button is one component and the message is another component, so I come here, drag and drop the component here, click on the component and choose the flow message V2. So it's not going to load for us because we set to not load. And there you go. So now if I publish, that should be all set. So I will test that with the admin. So preview and authenticate as. And then here I am. So if I click on feedback, I should see the message. And then if I type anything here in test and create, I see a thank you note, and that's it. One thing I notice is if you click feedback again, I would like to have all this gray area on the whole page, not just follow the structure here. So because we are in digital experience, that change. Oops, if I want to leave it, just click outside. So I can change the design for that. It's a very small design for that, which is if we go to flow message, we can go to design and change this to fixed. Publish, we go back there and reload. I click on feedback. Now I have the whole thing, which looks better. Okay, so I will add another record here and create. Thank you. That's all the flow I want. So let me see if that creates actually. It did create. Before I think I click on create there. So create 3 records here. And I think I don't have the user. So let me add the user here. Yeah, it did not add the user, so it worked on the new one. On the other one I have, I did add the user there because I want to know which user. So, and there's this flow that I don't need to know the user. So yeah, if I try with the logged in user now, where's the logged in user? I think I left the page. This is the admin. Yeah. So you, with the logged in user, you do need the permission set. So let me go to the user here. I think it's better through here. I have one user, which is Edward, and Edward does have a access to logged in. But before, I think I did show that Edward does have the access to the object and to the EvoluteMessage. If you forget this flow is not going to work. So you have to make sure that Edward can create the record and Edward also can see the message. Otherwise, the flow is not going to show for you. And then if I create with Edward now, it should work the same way as did for the admin. So if I click here, there we go. It shows if I put -1 1226. Got the message, awesome. And then if you go back and see the records, 1226. So great. So this process is very simple. I hope that helps. I do the same process you can create for any object or any. I have one here that is for subscribe now. You can also add that. That does need more permission if you want to enable that for the guest user. That's the intention of subscribe now. So Salesforce does have some documentation how to make a flow available on the guest user. Also, if you want a video about it, so let me know so then create more videos for this flow. But it works the same way as the feedback. And I think that's all. Thank you very much. And if you have any questions or any suggestion, please don't hesitate to go to our page. We do have a documentation about the flow, and we do have a documentation about the advanced message as well. So for you to know the permission, how to start, and what is the limitations if we have, and how it works. And then if you see the documentation and you still have questions or you don't know how to achieve a scenario, please contact us. We'll be very happy to help you. Okay, thank you very much.